morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly episode. It is episode number 320 for August the 19th, 2025. And let's jump right into what I've been working on. So it's not quilted yet, but it is. The top is done, and this is the Halloween mini quilt, which is an in the hoop design, which I'll be talking about the pattern about it a little later on in today's episode. But it came out pretty nice, I think. The basic pattern for the in the hoop, because it is an in the hoop project, is the block with the pumpkin and the star around it. And that's all it is. But I made 4 of them, and I did them in the purple and I did them in the green. And they are quilted as well in the hoop. And then all the borders that you see, I decided to add those on myself. Now, there is a finishing section of the file or of the pattern if you buy it, but I didn't really want to do their thing. I want to do my thing, so I did. And if you notice the outside border on this, it is a directional fabric with the pumpkins, so I had to make sure I got the pumpkins facing the right way, and I almost blew that. I also put in a little skinny orange border between the black sashing and the outside border to make it set it off, and it in some ways it looks like a flange, but it's not a flange. It's just a very skinny, I think it was a 1.5 inch piece finished at 1 piece of orange, just to separate that busy outside border from the rest. So what am I going to do with it next? Well, generally speaking, in the hoop projects like this, you usually quilt as you go, so to speak, and I have. However, because I do not have any batting in this quilt except underneath the pumpkin block itself, I am going to put it on Lucy, and I'm going to do an edge-to-edge design. Now, yes, I could do a custom design and go around the outside of the pumpkins and that kind of thing, but I think I'm just going to take a very light, maybe very, very pale orangey colored and do a very simple pattern and just let Lucy do, the quilting on that. I think that will be okay. Worst case scenario, it isn't perfect, but that's okay. This is a novelty quilt, and it's not going into a show. I'm not even going to give it to anybody. And in fact, because it's a little bit rigid because of the embroidery, it's not really a soft, cuddly quilt. It's more of a display piece, that I can drape over a chair or something like that, or hang up on a wall somewhere in October. So that's my plan for it. We'll see how that all works out, and I'm hoping to get it on Lucy later today. Okay, moving on. So I am in love with these felt bags from Dollarama. That is a major dollar store chain here in Canada. They do not exist in the States, but they have these bags. They're made of a very, very heavy felt, and I decided I would embroider on them. Now, I'm sure that's not a new idea, but when I saw them at first in the Dollarama, that's immediately what I thought of. And I mean, they're cheap. $5 a bag. So during the pop-up sew day this past weekend, I did this. And I did it on the back and on the front of this bag. And I think it looks pretty cool. It did take a while to do the embroidery, because this is actually 2 embroidery designs attached together. The truck with the gnomes and the tree in it is one design, and the trees with the gifts on it is another. But it turned out, I think, really nice. I like it so much that I now have 12 of these bags. They're not completed. I only have the 1 bag completed. But my idea is that they are going to make really nice Christmas gifts with some little goodies inside the bag as well. They're a big bag. They're quite a big bag, actually, so they could be used as a shopping bag. But it's going to take some time to get 12 of these all embroidered, so I have to start now. Another project, just what I need, right? You're going to wonder how I get it underneath the needle. Well, I basically take the bag apart, and they're very easy to take apart. And they come apart in three pieces: front, back, and then the sides and bottom are all one. And then I just float them on top of my largest embroidery hoop with stabilizer in the hoop. But I don't try to hoop these because they're too thick to actually be in the hoop. But once you've put on a few or done a little bit of stitching on it, just even a few stitches, it holds it in place and nothing to worry about. And they do, as you can see, they do embroider very nicely. So yeah, I got more of these things to make. And speaking of making things, I was surprised on the pop-up sew day on Saturday, about in the last hour actually. Walter came home from his sewing day, and he handed a package. It was out. It was in the mailbox, and he had checked the mail. Um, and this was a package from a very good friend and a regular subscriber here, and regular everything. I mean, Sue never misses a pop-up sew day or a sewing with Stephen day, and she sent this to me as a belated birthday present. My birthday was back in July, and that's Sue Norfleet. I want to make sure I say her name. I really appreciate this, and it's great. It's an in the hoop project, and I love it so much. It's sitting right by my sewing machine right now that I had to get the pattern, and I want to make some of these for Christmas gifts as well. Um, but it was very thoughtful of her, and I really appreciate it. And she sent me a lovely little card that goes kind of along with it, the Crayolas, and a lovely note inside. So Sue, thank you from the bottom of my heart. It made my day. This really made my day. And there's something I want to show you that I have made my own version of this. Excuse me. These are soft sides, of course, and they'll collapse. And the idea of them collapsing is they'd be great to throw in your sewing bag when you're going to a retreat or a class. Um, I don't do either very often, and I wanted it to be a little bit more rigid. And at first I just printed out on my 3D printer a little square of plastic to put down the bottom, and that worked. But then I thought I can do this in another way, and that is to make this. It's just a box, and it fits right down, as you can see, inside the thread catcher, and it keeps the walls nice and stiff. Now, you don't need to do something like that because Sue has used a stabilizer in there that, keeps it pretty soft. And of course, if you want to take it with you, it just collapses. But I'm doing this. Now, I'm in the process of experimenting with this design because there is a lining, okay? I kind of want to skip the lining part of making this. So, yeah, another reason for the little box. We'll see how that works out, and I'll show it to you when it does. But I love it. I think it's a great idea, and the design can be found on, I believe, let me just get it. It's from Sweet Pea Designs, and if you go to Sweet Pea Designs, just do a search for Thread Catcher Box, and you will find it too. Unfortunately, it's not on sale right now, and it's kind of a pricey pattern. But they put stuff on sale all the time, so watch for the sale if you don't want to pay full price. But I was too impatient. I want to get right on with it. So, okay. So I think that's all I have to show you there. Yes, so let's talk about things that are coming up and things that have passed. Sewing with Stephen on Wednesdays. And yeah, if you've never joined us on one and you think there's a lot of silence and everybody staring at a screen or working on projects, well, there is some of that at times. But we're a very conversational group. And Sue, the same Sue that made the thread catcher, because she has a journalistic background, she made notes on all the topics we talked about on the last sewing day. And I thought I would just let you know what kind of conversations we have. And our conversations are about everything and anything. It's bizarre what we get talking about. I mean, we've talked about men's underwear. We've talked about, well, here's the list, okay? So we talked about Hamburgers and Buffalo Burgers, pros and cons. Tim Hortons. Geocaching. Storms coming toward Bermuda. Ron enabled me. Ron's one of our regulars too. And yeah, there's a lot of enabling goes on, mostly in, ooh, I have to have, did you get it? I want it, buy it now, kind of a thing. Purse construction, joys and problems of getting older, potluck dinners, discussion on buying a sewing machine and cleaning machines, losing and finding Sojo, finishing a round of binding and connecting the ends, Mona at the Mountie Horse Ride Show. Yeah, one of my subscribers, Mona, you may know her as Balloonist, she was traveling in her truck all the way up from Arizona to North Carolina here in Canada, and she took us along for the ride during the sew day. She had her camera on as she was driving safely up here to Canada. That was kind of cool. And along the way, she stopped and saw a Mountie ride. Let's see. What else did we have talking about? Horses in general. Fabric shopping with Mona. And it says, Sue has a note here. Was Stephen enabled? Yes, he was. And you will see probably later this week on So Chatty the haul that I purchased from the quilt store out west that Mona stopped at. And party planning. That's just a few of the things we end up talking about. We do not have an agenda. We just have really great discussions. And you know, I learn something from every one of those discussions because it's a sharing of knowledge and information, and it's great. So it's more than just a sew day, okay? It's a day where we broaden our horizons by talking about things with each other. So I hope you'll be able to join us on one of those Wednesdays or all of the Wednesdays, because I have them every Wednesday. They start at 9 a.m. and they go till 4 p.m. Eastern Time. All are welcome. It is a Zoom, so it's not a YouTube live, and it's not recorded. So you will always find the link for Sewing with Stephen on Wednesdays in the show notes. So hope to see you there at one of them if you've never been to one before. Okay. So speaking of sewing days, Rented Lips, let's talk about the pop-up sew day I just had. Great time. I think at the height of it, we had about 24 people. And if you've never been to a pop-up sew day, they are just that. You're never sure when they're going to happen. Well, lately I've been giving people, about a week's notice before I have one. There is Zoom event as well, so they're not a YouTube live, they're not recorded, but we just work on whatever we want. And the reason I have those on a Saturday, because a pop-up sew day is always on a Saturday, not on every Saturday. I usually have one, at least one a month. Sometimes I might slip in a second one, and because there are people that still work. I mean, many of us are retired, like I am, and I love it. But I thought at one time back a while ago that, some people said they would like to come to the Wednesday sew days, but they can't because they have to work. So I decided to have pop-up sew days at least one Saturday, as I said, a month. So that's what I do. So when's the next pop-up sew day? I'm debating. It might be Labor Day weekend. I'm wondering if that might stop a lot of people from coming because they have other plans for Labor Day weekend. I'm not sure. So actually, if you wanted to make a comment about that, you can just throw that down below, and yeah, I'll take a look at it. But right now, tentatively, I'm thinking Labor Day weekend, and that's in about 2 weeks from now. Yeah. What else is coming up? Well, this coming Saturday on Sean, the Guy Who Sews live, that he holds every Saturday morning, and they start at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, I'm his guest. So I don't know, it's an opportunity to catch up with Sean and just talk about whatever. And you know me, I have no problem of talking about whatever. So yeah, I hope you will tune in. That's the guy who the guy who shows. Oh, I am having a problem this morning. The Guy Who Sews. Yeah, this coming Saturday, which is August the 23rd. Yeah, at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Okay, So Chatty last week did something a little different. We got a bit philosophical. We talked about being creatives, Walter and I, and we talked about our roots in creativity and how we define creativity and the pros and the cons of being creative, all that kind of stuff. So it was really a kind of a philosophical discussion as opposed to maybe something a little more hands-on practical. Um, but I would like to put it out there, and you've heard me say this many times before, and I'm going to keep saying it until it happens. Okay, I'm sorry, but I need ideas for So Chatty. And some of you have sent us some, and we have used many of those ideas as a basis for what we're going to talk about Chatty. But we're running a little thin on topics right now. I'm desperate. I need your help. I need you to give me some suggestions. And don't poo-pah any idea that you have. Just write it down and send it to me either via emails in the show notes, or put it right down here below in the comments. And it's something we can work with. It'll spark an idea. And I think I talked a little bit about how I create in terms of brainstorming and mind mapping. So might not be part of my mind map. Give me an idea. Yes, please. Okay, so that takes us to subscribe quilt of the week, and this comes from someone we've seen her lovely creations before, and she's a regular subscriber and friend, and that is Pat Jennings. This week's quilt from a subscriber comes from someone who's a very good friend of the channel's and of mine, and that's Pat Jennings. And Pat Jennings, we have seen her beautiful original art quilts before, and this is another one, and she entitles it Casino. This piece is an original design, hand quilted with machine piecing and applique. Each time I thought I had completed this one, I continued to find areas that needed a little something else. My plan is to enter this one in QuiltCon. Well, I think it's got an excellent choice, or chance that is, of winning a prize. This is absolutely beautiful, and I just love the use of the circles here, and the border line reminds me of something kind of Aztec-y, if that's a word. But I like the black and the white, but then the pops of red really set this off. So this is a wonderful quilt, Pat, and I do hope that it gets some sort of an award at QuiltCon. Thank you for submitting it. And if you have a beautiful creation that you're proud of, please send me a picture of it. It doesn't have to be a quilt. It can be anything that you have made. And send me a little less than 50 words blurb about it, and I would be happy to feature it here. And I'm starting to get a little low on my supply. So yeah, another help me. This, I should call this whole episode Help Me, because I am looking to you. Really, I want my stuff on my channel to be relevant to you. And the way I can keep it relevant is if you give me things, if you send me things. So please, if you've got a creation, don't be shy. Send me a picture of it, 50-word blurb or less, and I will be pleased to show it on an episode of Idiot Quilter. Okay, so that takes me to the YouTube of the week. And this is actually my own video. Oh, sorry, this is not my video. This is another content creator's video about her visit at the Festival of Quilts that we went to, and it's got a little different perspective than mine. So here's my review of that. This week's YouTube clip comes from someone who I met at at the Festival of Quilts in Birmingham, and her name is Scrap Fabric Love. It's Kristen, and she does her views of the quilt show in Birmingham that I went to. And it's nice to see a variety of different takes on the show. And Kristen's is very, very good. She talks about the key quilts at the show, and she also talks about the vendors and about the people that she met. And of course, she met Walter and myself, and we're mentioned here as well. So thank you for that, Kristen. But yeah, I think it's a very well done video. It gives you a very concise but detailed view at the same time of all the various quilts at the quilt show, and it gives you a real feel for what the Birmingham Festival of Quilts was all about. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, I highly suggest that you check out my visit to the Festival of Quilts 2025 by Scrap Fabric Love. So future projects are no longer in the future. This one now, you've already seen it. It's almost done. But I'm going to insert a little video clip here of me talking about that pattern for the Halloween mini quilt, and it's by Designs by JuJu. This week's future project is another one that I have already started, so it's not that far into the future, but it is an In the Hoop design called In the Hoop Halloween Mini Quilt Project, and you can see here what the block looks like, and it's a fairly large block, about 20-21 inches square, and this comes from Designs by JuJu, so you will need to have an embroidery machine for this, although you could take a look at this and I'm sure you could do it just as usual patchwork. I really like it. It makes this one block. Really don't like the colors are showing there, but they have various different variations on it too. So that gives you some ideas of what you can work with. And I'm making 4 of these in different colorways that I think might make a really cute either wall hanging, large wall hanging, or a small lap quilt, or just something to put out at decorations during Halloween, during the month of October. So I will show you what it looks like when I have it finished, but in the meantime, it is on sale at Designs by JuJu. I am not sponsored by them. I just like a good sale, and it's on for a little more than about 65% off. So that's a pretty good price as well. So if you've got an embroidery machine and you're thinking about Halloween, and yes, it's not that far away, then this might be a project you might want to tackle. So now we turn our attention to what's twisting my seams, and this week we have one sent in. It is about a fabric called Terrain Wave by Whistler Studios, and it's actually by me because I didn't have anybody else's. Okay, here's the appeal again. Please go through your stash, take a picture of something that you haven't thought about in a long time, and whether or not, and tell me whether or not you still love it, why it attracted you to it, and whether you ever did make a project or still going to make a project with it. But here's my take on one called Terrain Wave by Whistler Studios. So since I've had no submissions for this week's edition of What's Twisting My Seams, I thought I'd show you something from my stash, and it's this very colorful pattern. And at first glance, there's nothing really ugly about it, and that's why I bought it, because I like the wavy design in it. I like the colors in it. The colors are sort of reminiscent, but not quite, of rainbow. And I thought this would be something that I would definitely use. Well, I have not used it yet, and I've had it for probably about 4 or 5 years. As I've already mentioned, what attracted me to it was the colors and the pattern. And in the back of my mind, I thought this might make a really great bag, and it still would. I could still make a bag out of it, so it's not a complete loss. But am I in love with it like I was then? Not really. I don't absolutely hate it, but as I said, beyond a bag, I'm not sure what I would do with it. It might be just a little wild. Now, it might make a good border on a quilt. You could do that. You might even use it, incorporate it into backing. I think I actually have a fairly large piece that would work on a small lap size quilt. But beyond that, it's back in the stash. I won't throw it away. I won't give it away, but it's there for future reference. So that's what's twisting my seams this week. So what am I working on in this past week? Well, I've been doing a little of this and a little bit of that. And I've gotten some things completed, but other things not. So, well, here's what I'm talking about. So this past week I've been working on a lot of things on the 3D printer, and I'm working in advance of Christmas because, you know, even though this is August, Christmas pops up unexpectedly, and these things take time to make. So right now I am just playing around with what I'm going to make and give to the ladies at my local quilt store. I always give them something every Christmas. And so I was making these. I think these are really cute. These are coaster sets. And I think they'd really like these, and I'm making them in a variety of colors. And even though they have a snowflake design, I thought I would stay away from traditional red, green, and white Christmas colors. And so these are coming along quite nicely, and they don't take that long to make. Then I'm playing around with this keychain idea. And do I have one that's done? Should be one in here. Maybe I haven't got, I think I gave that away. But anyways, I thought these things are really kind of cute. And I'm toying with the idea of adding maybe another item to this, and then it would be a little keychain kind of a thing. This is a hot chocolate mug. That's what that's supposed to be, little marshmallows on the top of it. These, I don't know if I'm going to make these or not. They're not exactly what I expected. However, I think if I made them from the the translucent, or transparent filament that I have, and you put a tea light in the bottom of these, I think these might make a really cute little gift as well. And there's, several different styles. There's this style, and then this style. And then, of course, you can't give a Christmas gift without a Christmas gnome. So I have these little Santa guys. Now, you can make them in multiple colors, but they take a long time to print one, like about 13 hours, as opposed to the solid colors. So I don't know. I might still do that. I'm still working on other ideas as well for Christmas presents for those people. And I'll have to see what I can come up with and do some search for different things. I did find one, and I don't have it out here, but it's a dragon. It's called the Snowflake Dragon, and it's kind of fun. So I might create some of those as well for my little gift bags that I'm putting together. So basically that, and you've already seen the Halloween mini quilt. That's what I've been working on. Oh, I've also been working on another one of those felt bags. And just let me take you in to see what those are. We'll just move back into my sewing room here. Hope I'm not making you sick. So as I said, I'm working on my Halloween mini quilt. You've already seen it, but I'm working on these. And those are those felt bags. I think I mentioned them before, that I got at Dollarama. I think they're $5 a piece. They're really cool. This is what they look like when they're not pulled apart. Right here. So you can see it's a decent size. But I pulled off the front on this one, and I pulled off the back. And I've done a much more elaborate embroidery on them. So later today, or whenever I get to it, I'm going to re-sew these together. It's not very hard to do. It's easy to take them apart as well. It's pretty basic. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'll get more of these and maybe give these as a Christmas gift as well. Take a while to stitch this design, and I think I'll use different designs for them, so they're not all the same. But yeah, so that's what I've been working on this week. So I have something special this week on my channel. It's been a long time since I've done one of these, but I did one just the other day, and it's up for you to see now, and it is an interview. I found a brand new YouTube channel by a male quilter, a very talented male quilter. His name is Clint Milner, and his channel is called the Boy Stitcher. And we had a discussion, and it's now up for you to enjoy, and the link to that is in the show notes. So please go and check it out. But in the meantime, here's just a little snippet of the full interview.
I started it because when I wanted to, a couple things. I wanted to document my progress. Um, I found like I found that I am my worst critic. And when I'm documenting my process, and I can go back and look at where I started and see like, oh, that's how far I've come. And I'm doing really good. I'm going to
Yeah.
give myself grace. So
Yeah.
partly for me, to be quite honest with you, to have
Yeah.
some type of record or log. Now, you could normally do that and just share and save that on a drive and not share that with anybody, but I figured, hey, might as well put this out there. If someone else is interested
Yeah.
in doing these types of projects, then I want to be a resource. And when I first started, Be Colorful Quilts is the quilt that I'm working on. That's the brand. And when I YouTube searched them, I think I found two videos from one quilt shop that was probably, I've got to be like 7 years old, 8 years old. Great videos. But, we've come a long way in our filming technology and how we set up our camera angles and things like that. And so, and I watched those videos so many times on repeat just to learn the technique and how they worked it. But there wasn't anything else out there. Tons of Judy Niemeyer. She puts out a lot of videos and they're
Yes.
very helpful, right? But nothing for the Be Colorful. Like now she does traveling kind of, classes and everything, but there was nothing that was readily accessible. And so it's not so much maybe a tutorial, or it's more of a come with me as I'm experiencing this and learn with me as we're going through this process, because I've never done this before either. This pattern is new to me. And I'm making mistakes, obviously, as I go.
So I hope you will check out that interview, and I hope you'll support uh, Clint's channel, because believe me, he's doing wonderful things, and there's only more wonderful things to come. Okay, online quilt store this week is called Quilting by Design. This week's online quilt store is located in New Hamburg, Ontario, which is, about an hour and a half uh, west of me. And I have never been to their actual store because they do have an actual store, but let's take a look at their online offerings here and make an assessment from there. So this is their front page, and you can see they've got bundles of fabric being shown here. They have something about Friday socials, open sew, beginner quilting, Dresden neighborhood. So they've got classes and social events, and they have them a newsletter as well, and they do long arm services. And yeah, they have a newsletter, as I said. Don't see anything down here right off the bat about shipping, so we will come back and see if we can find out something about that. But let's take a look at their um, products. So let's just click on all products, and we've got fabric and kits and panels and pre-cuts and books and patterns, notions, cross stitch, sample quilts for sale, gifts, knit wit. So it looks like they do sell some knitting products. Tula Pink, art gallery fabrics, and Sarah Hart labels. Okay, so let's pop into their fabrics. They have something called Last Chance, so this must be stuff that's going out. Now, it's not all quilting cotton. And when I say, because I see this remnant 66 inches, I'm not sure if that's quilting cotton or just the end of a bolt kind of a thing. Well, it's 66 inches. It can't be quilting cotton. But they have a fair amount of things here, various prices. Um, let's go back up here to all products and go back into fabrics and shop by color. They have Allison Glass, Anna Marie Textiles, Art Gallery Fabrics, Blank Quilting, Blenders Canvas, Charlie Harper, Christmas Fabric, Cotton and Steel, Dashwood Studios. Okay, so they've got a few. Okay, let's go to Northcott because I usually use that as my standard. And they've got various lines in it. Not a lot to choose from. Let's take a look at Shimmer Radiance. 14.50. I imagine that's for a meter. Yes, it is, and that's a pretty good price for fabric, but I think their fabrics probably vary in price. Fried Glisten by Patrick Luss. Yeah, $18 a meter. Okay, so $14 to $18. Do they have anything a little bit more expensive than that? Well, that's wide back. So 14 to 18 looks like what we're talking about right now. Tonal trios, 15. So basically, it looks like their top price is about $18 a meter, which is pretty good. Selection wise, most of the stuff is fairly more blender type fabric. I'm not finding a whole lot of prints. Let's go down to fabric. Well, we have Allison Glass, for example, lots of designers. So we have prints and art theory. 1950. Okay, so the ones that are designer fabrics are a little bit more expensive, but still that's within the ballpark here for price wise. And let's see, is there another one we can take a look at? Um, this is all Allison Glass. Let's go back a step. Art gallery fabrics. I really like art gallery fabrics. Wide back. It looks like wide backs are mixed in with the regular, depending on by designer name or color. They're now these ones are more expensive, $23 a meter. Okay, so you've got a wide range of prices. Um, let's go back into all of our products and let's take a look at pre-cuts. Bundles, charm packs, jelly rolls, layer cakes. Okay, charm pack. 1620 micro for 10, 16. Not a wide selection here. Price wise, about the average, what you would expect. Okay, let's go back. Jelly rolls. Definitely not much of a selection in jelly rolls. Bundles. Okay, various prices, but about the standard pricing, I would say. They have more to choose from in the bundles than they do in the other pre-cuts. And they have some decent looking things here, so that's okay. Let's go back. Yeah, and here you get an overview of everything that they have. Okay. All right, let's go all products again. Panels, books and patterns. Patterns. Oh, they sell the Art East patterns. And it's pretty much standard pricing on those. And a few others as well. Elizabeth Hartman. You know, the popular ones they sell, and they're all pretty much what you'd expect in price. Okay, so what else? Oh, they have thread, and it looks like they sell Aurifil. So let's check what they're charging for their thread. $19 standard price for Aurifil for that size for the 50 weight, 1300 meters. They do have larger cones of it as well. Not a big selection of colors, but you know, as quilters, do we use a lot of different colors? Unless, of course, you're using Aurifil to quilt with. I use Glide, so I'd be primarily looking at white and black thread. Okay. What else can we take a look at? Well, they do have some cross stitch if you're into cross stitching and gifts. And they do have some, nope, they don't have, it looks like they may have at some time knitting, but they don't. I don't like it when a category comes up and it's empty. That makes me wonder, is this something new? Are they getting it in? Are they sold out? Or is this just not been developed? Either way, don't send me to a blank page because that really does annoy me. That's just me. Okay, so these are all fabrics. Wide backing. I didn't check wide backing out. So let's see, $34 a meter. That's on the upper scale, $37 a meter, $38 a meter. So it's quite a wide range from about 26 to 38 dollars a meter. They don't have a bad selection. They have 2 pages of this, so yeah, that's okay. Price wise, yeah, wide backing is wide backing. It's expensive. What can you say? You don't often get a real deal on wide back fabrics. Anything else in here that we should take a look at? Sample quilts for sale. Lap quilts, table runners, baby quilt, bed quilts. Yeah, they have a few. Yeah, I don't know. To me, why would you buy a quilt? that they have. I mean, unless you really see something you like and you want it maybe for a specific person, maybe you would, or you didn't have the time to make them one. But, or this is really something I think for the non-quilters, to buy, because their prices on these are not terrible. In fact, if anything, they might be a little underpriced. Okay, go back in here. Now, Tulip Pink Destash. So all bundles are cut by hand. All bundles are the entire line. All fat eighths, all fat quarters, yardage, etc. Okay. So I guess if you're a Tula Pink fan, and so many people are, this might be something you would definitely be interested in. I have no idea whether these prices are good or bad or indifferent, because I do not usually buy Tula Pink. But if you're interested in it, they have it. Okay, anything else that we should be taking a look at? They have some labels. Okay, and giftware. What else? Okay, we've taken a look at most of those, but can we find something about shipping? Here we go. Shipping rates as follows. In Ontario, it's $14.99. The rest of Canada, $19.99. And USA, $19.99. It looks like it's a flat rate. And that is not an unreasonable amount for shipping. So that's pretty good. I'm, impressed by that. Also, I didn't mention it, but they do sell their fabric by the meter, not by the yard. So again, I would expect it by the meter as a Canadian store. It bothers me when they sell it by the yard. Okay, long arm quilting. They have these services and they explain to you what they're going to charge you. So, and the procedure for getting a quilt into them. Okay. They do sewing machine cleaning. Oh, but they're saying we are currently not accepting machines for service. Please check back later. Okay, so for some reason, they're not doing that. Full cleaning on a computerized machine, $99 plus HST. That's about the going rate. So yeah, reasonable, but for some reason they're not doing that right now. They do custom template cutting, laser cutting, so they have the equipment for that. They do have a block of the month you can sign up for, and it tells you all about that. And contact information, FAQs, we already looked at that for shipping. And yeah, I think we've covered most of it. So we'll go back to the home page here. So that's Quilting by Design in New Hamburg, Ontario. I think they have, they have an interesting, although maybe a little light in selection of fabrics and pre-cuts. Don't have a bad selection of wide backs. Prices are vary from, really inexpensive in terms of what might be considered inexpensive in quilting fabric these days to upper end pricing. The website is very easy to navigate, and shipping seems to be very reasonable. So I think I'm going to give Quilting by Design an 8 out of 10. So that brings me to the end of this episode. Before we go, just let you know that I have started the planning process for the fall retreat. The date for the fall retreat will be Saturday, October the 18th, so you might want to put that in your calendar. The fall retreat, if you've never been to one before, is absolutely free, but you do have to register for it. But don't send in your request now. There is a procedure for doing this, and that will all be revealed to you in the first part of September. So right now I'm just in the preliminary stages of getting my plans together and getting my guest speakers together as well. But I thought you'd like to know in advance, for those of you that like to write things into your calendar, that the fall retreat, the Idiot Quilter Fall Retreat, will be on Saturday, October the 18th. Okay, that's it for me today. I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you're creative and productive. And yeah, summer's almost over. We're in the middle of August. Actually, we're moving into the late part of August. That's sad. That's sad. But anyways, go to your happy place and make yourself happy. See you later. Bye for now.